Good evening, YouTube. You guys are now watching another segment of the TCGPlayer, King of Games. And today, we're going to be watching an insane matchup between Cyber Dragon and Sky Striker. Now, Trip 102 is going to start off with activating his Sky Striker Mobilize Engage. And for the people that don't know how Sky Strikers play, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, I'll guide you right through it. What Sky Striker Mobilize Engage does is upon its activation, he has to have no monsters on his main monster zone to activate it. He'll be able to search a Sky Striker card from his deck to his hand. This time around, he's going to choose his Mecha Modules multi-role. For the players that have played a Spellbook deck, it's almost like Spellbook of Judgment, allowing you to recur some Spellbook or Sky Striker cards back to your side of the field. He's then going to normal summon Sky Striker Ace Ray and not use its effect. He's just going to immediately link it for his Sky Striker Ace Kagari. Now, Kagari allows him to add a Sky Striker spell card in his graveyard to his hand. He's going to recur one of his most powerful cards in his deck and Mobilize Engage. That's going to set him up for some really good plays in an additional search. He's then going to follow up with the activation of Sky Striker Mecha Modules multi-role, meaning that after every Sky Striker spell card is activated, he gets to place somewhat what you would consider is a counter on it, just to remind him that he can set Sky Striker spell cards from his graveyard back to his side of the field. Following up with his engage, he'll be able to get another search, and seeing that he went to go get Shark Cannon means that he probably already has access to his Widow Anchor in his hand, because he's going to be able to search a Widow Anchor during his end phase. I think that it's going to be setting himself up for a lot of success, having multiple disruptions face down inside of Shark Cannon being able to banish important monsters in your opponent's graveyard, as well as the Widow Anchor being able to negate opponent's monster effects in critical situations, can really prove to be a disaster, and that's the forte of Sky Strikers. You want to whittle down your opponent's resources while maintaining your own. He's then going to use his Kagari for a link summon into Sky Striker Ace Shizuku, and I want you guys to pay attention to the chain link order. During his end phase, he's first going to use the effect of Shizuku. I know it's not a chain link order, but he's going to first use the effect of his Shizuku. He's going to add his Mecha Widow Anchor. And before he activates the effect of his Mecha Modules multi-role, he's going to activate the effect of his Sky Striker Mecha Widow Anchor, negating his own Shizuku. Now, players will wonder, why are you doing that? Well, he'll be able to activate the effect of his Mecha Modules multi-role, and he'll be able to set it to his side of the field. This way, he can actually set the card that he searched through the effect of Shizuku. That's going to pass Chip's turn, leaving 4 cards face down, a Shizuku, a Ray in the graveyard, and a multi-rolls. During my standby phase, he's actually going to use a spicy card for the Sky Striker deck. Metaverse will allow him to activate a field spell from his deck, and he's going to choose Mystic Mind, which is insanely powerful against combo-based decks. Normally, you want to summon a myriad of monsters to your side of the field, and Mystic Mind prevents those monsters from attacking or using their effects. Against Sky Strikers, they don't necessarily have monsters that want to activate their effects anyways, so it's a perfect card for them. Unfortunately for Chip, I just so happen to have the answer. Cyber Dragon plays really well with this card. I'm going to go into my battle phase and activate Evenly Matched. Now, Evenly Matched can be an unfair card at times if you're going second, but sometimes it's a necessary evil looking at his board. And I bet you guys are wondering, why did Chip pick up that Evenly Match? There's actually a ruling debate that we're having right now. Should the Sky Striker Ace Ray be able to summon himself or herself from the graveyard to the side of the field if Shizuku is banished face down? And the answer is no, for quite a few reasons, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, the monster is being banished face down, meaning that Sky Striker Ace Ray wouldn't even realize that it's a Sky Striker card. But if that isn't enough evidence for you guys, he's actually choosing to banish the cards. Evenly Matched forces the opponent to choose to banish the cards, which is why cards like Masterpiece get banished through the effects of Evenly Matched. He's going to choose to keep his Mystic Mind, which will prevent me from summoning of the monsters, but at the end phase of my turn, destroy the card itself. I don't think that it was a bad play, because I had a pretty decent hand, and I could have worked with some things if, Mystic Mind wasn't existing on the board. It forced me to set one card and passed, and while Chip did lose a considerable amount of resources, he's actually going to be able to recover pretty nicely. Activating Sky Striker Airspace Area 0 and then setting a card face down. Using that airspace, he can reveal the top 3 cards from his deck, or excavate the top 3 cards from his deck, and if one happens to be a Sky Striker card, he can add it to his hand and send the revealed or the set card to the graveyard. he's going to be able to add a Hornet Drones, which is probably the exact card that he needed to be able to recover into this play. Now, it kind of isn't, because he does have that Kagari in the graveyard, and if Kagari was at anything more than 1, then he'd be able to pop off. But fortunately for Chip, he just so happens to send to the graveyard his Mech Armory Hercules base, which allows him to shuffle Sky Striker cards back into his deck. He'll be able to recur that Kagari, and I'm just going to pick up his deck just because I'm being spiteful right now, and shuffle it one more time. I'm pretty upset that he drew that. That was like the perfect pieces that he needed. So now he knows that he has the Hornet Drones in his hand. He's going to actually go ahead and activate that card, special summoning an Executor token to his side of the field. And now he can use the Executor token for a Link Summon. He's not going to go into a haste because he doesn't have the Engage in his graveyard, so he actually first has to make a different Sky Striker Link monster to put it into the graveyard. Now, when this card was debuted in the Cybernetic Horizon set, I didn't think it was good, but I don't know why I don't think certain cards that are amazing are good anyways. So he's going to special summon Hayate to his side of the field and inflict 1500 damage and trigger her effect. This allows him to send a Sky Striker spell card from his graveyard, and he's going to take full advantage. He doesn't have Sky Striker Mobilize Engage, so he's going to send the Sky Striker Mobilize Engage from his deck to his graveyard. Now, I bet you guys are wondering, Cali, why does that really mean anything? Well, the monster that he just returned back into his deck is a Sky Striker Ace Kagari, and Kagari can recur Sky Striker cards from the graveyard, so essentially the Hayate is a reinforcement of the army. And he also got to get some cheeky 1500 damage. So Kagari will allow him to add the Engage back to his hand, where it actually never was, and he'll be able to pop over some pretty cool combos. Activating that Engage, he can then search another copy of his Sky Striker Mecha Multi-Rolls, and the Multi-Rolls will allow him to set more Sky Striker cards from his graveyard back to his side of the field. I think Chip is playing really well right now, and Sky Strikers are definitely one of those decks that you have to watch out for. Even with the impending ban list, I just don't see this deck getting hit. It just got reprinted inside of the Battles of Legends Hero Revenge, so Sky Striker players should be coming out of the woodwork to play this deck. But this isn't exactly what you guys might be here for. You clicked for that Cyber Dragon video. You wanted to see how it played. And with a mere 500 likes, you guys can see that deck profile, because Cyber Dragons are about to go ham right now. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be able to show you how powerful this deck can be at its very best inside of 2019. Chip 102 activating that Sky Striker Mecha Multi-Rolls. He's going to send to the graveyard a Metal Foes Fusion. Whoa! Chip is just getting all the pluses, and now he can shuffle in that Metal Foes Fusion back into his deck. He'll be able to draw an additional card. So the multi-roll didn't necessarily serve a purpose of I can't necessarily stop his Sky Striker spell cards. It actually got the Metal Foes Fusion back into his graveyard, which meant that he can get an additional resource and possibly get into exactly what he needs. Proceeding to use his Kagari for a Link Summon, he's going to go ahead and make Shizuku, and now he can end his turn activating Shizuku's effect, and you guys should already know what he's going to do. He's going to do the exact same combo. He's going to add the Sky Striker Mecha Widow Anchor, and then activate the Widow Anchor targeting the Shizuku, and then he can set the Widow Anchor back to his side of the field due to his multi-rolls effect. I love how Sky Striker can unconventionally, like, you send cards to the graveyard to add it to your hand, you add cards to your hand to set them to the side of the field. Very unconventional how they get cards to their side of the field into their hand. It's very cool to see how Sky Strikers play. Now Chip's gonna pass it right back to me. 2 cards face down. We know one of them are a Widow Anchor. How we're gonna stop this? I'm gonna discard Cyber Dragon from my hand to spell summon Cyber Dragon Noxter. Now that Mystic Mind is no longer on the field, I can play Yu-Gi-Oh! Using the effect of my Cyber Dragon, Chip is going to use his Widow Anchor to negate its effect, preventing me from summoning the Cyber Dragon. I'm gonna chain my Cyber Overflow using its effect to banish the Cyber Dragon to send the Widow Anchor to the graveyard, or the other card, and then Chip's gonna go ahead and use the Widow Anchor to take the Noxter. Now, here is a slight misplay by me and by Chip. He takes the Noxter because he feels that I can't make Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon because I don't control the card. The thing is, I can still make the Chimera attack. I just choose not to for some specific reason. I have no idea. But I'm going to go ahead and normal summon the Cyber Dragon Core to my side of the field. And then I'm going to get the Cybernetic Overload. Now, I guess you could say maybe I'm seeing OTK on my brain. And that's why I just didn't use both of his monsters for a link and capitalize on Chip's not so great play. And in Chip's defense, he really thought that the Noxter was the only card in my hand and he wanted to play aggressive. Then after losing his Widow Anchor, he's like, well, I might as well use it, give another monster to defend me, and then my opponent can't use, other things. So I can see both reasons for that, but I'm going to use Machine Duplication on my Cyber Dragon Core, special summon 2 more Cyber Dragons from my deck to my side of the field. And now we know that I have a Cyber Load Fusion and a Cyber Dragon in my graveyard, so it looks like scary hours. Using both the Cyber Dragon Core and the Cyber Dragon, now keep in mind, I would have actually just been able to use the Core and the Chimera attack for a Link Summon if I would have just used both of his monsters for the Seeker, and I would have still had 2 Cyber Dragons on my field. Like, oh man, I'm still like slamming myself against the wall for that. I'm then going to follow up with Cyber Rev System, and I'm going to special summon Cyber Dragon from my graveyard back to my side of the field. I can then follow up by using both of those monsters for an Exceed summon. At least I do this right. Summoning the Chimera Tech or the Cyber Dragon Nova to where Shizuku points to, and then detaching the material to special summon Cyber Dragon. So yeah, I could have had an additional level 5 monster on the field. Probably, actually, I'm pretty sure it would have been Cyber Dragon or something like that. It's unfortunate though. Special summoning the Cyber Dragon Infinity, I can now take the Sky Striker Ace Shizuku and attach it to my Infinity without him being able to trigger the effect of his Ray. And this is where Cyber Dragon actually has a pretty decent matchup against Sky Strikers, because basically when that Ray goes to the graveyard, you can almost guarantee that he'll never be able to summon Ray to his side of the field through your evenly matches, your Infinities, and other cards alike. I'm going to use the Seeker to attack him to the Noxter. And then attacking with the Cyber Dragon Infinity and the Noxter, I'll be able to finish this game up by, after calculating damage, activating that Cyber Load Fusion, returning the Cyber Dragon in my field, and banish 2 special summon no Chimera Tech Rampage, no Kelly, don't summon that. Go for the swag points, summon the ultimate guy, the Cyber Twin Dragon, so you can attack twice and attack for game. That's going to be pretty much game 1, ladies and gentlemen. Cyber Dragon taking it pretty handily, showing you how they can abuse Sky Striker cards to their own advantage. Now, this time around, Chip's going to want me to go first. Cyber Dragon's a decent going first, but not when you draw a not so great hand. I'm going to activate the effect of my Galaxy Soldier. I guess the only solace is that I drew the Galaxy Soldier and the card that goes really well with it. Discarding Cyber Dragon Hurts, I'm going to special summon Galaxy Soldier to my side of the field. I'm also going to be able to gain the effect of my Cyber Dragon Hurts to add a Cyber Dragon from my deck or graveyard to my hand. This time around, it's obviously we're going to be from the deck. So yeah, Cyber Dragon Hurts is going to allow me to add a Cyber Dragon. And now we have the Galaxy Soldier. I can now use Galaxy Soldier's number 2's effect, pitching the Cyber Dragon to summon himself to the side of the field. And I'm going to do exactly that, pitching it to make the Galaxy Soldier. I can use both of those monsters for an Exceed summon to Cyber Dragon Nova, and then I can immediately follow up with Infinity. Now, the game plan, this is why you don't take half measures, ladies and gentlemen. The game plan was to make Cyber Dragon Infinity, because if he opens the Mystic Mine, or if he goes into the Mystic Mine, which, plot twist, he's just going to happen to activate Terraforming, which will allow him to search into the Mystic Mine, then I would only have 1 monster. He starts playing with his cards, or he starts summoning a monster if he's in that position, then I can activate my Cyber Dragon Infinity. But then I start to realize that Chip's gonna go straight for the Mystic Mine, activated, and then he can just activate Sky Striker spell and trap cards, and I wouldn't be able to do anything. So don't take half measures, ladies and gentlemen, take full measures. I was kind of like all off. I could have summoned a Cyber Dragon monster to my side of the field in the process, but my thought process was preventing me because I didn't want to be Mystic Mind, thinking that I'd actually have a chance to negate something other than Mystic Mind. So Chip is going to activate Mystic Mind, and of course, I'm forced to activate Cyber Dragon Infinity after thinking about it. Taking half measures are just really bad. But it's okay. Cyber Dragon Infinity is going to negate that Mystic Mine. I think that's something that you guys, the player, can definitely learn from. As in my mistakes is hopefully your gain and you guys don't decide to make that mistake in your games. So now Chip is going to follow with Reinforcement of the Army, Rota. A card that has been extremely popular. First set that it was printed in was Legacy of Darkness. I was in, I want to say the 7th or 8th grade, maybe the 6th grade when that card came out. Woo! That card's very old. And then he's going to follow up by normal summoning Sky Striker Ace Ray. He then can use the Sky Striker Ace Ray for a Link Summon. And shout out to everybody that knows when Rhoda was at 1, 2, and 3. Hopefully Rhoda comes back to 3 one day. Free my homie Rhoda. He's now going to use that for a Link Summon into a Sky Striker Ace Hayate. Now Chip didn't draw the best hand, but again, Hayate is really important to the Sky Striker strategy. At first glance, it doesn't look like a very powerful card, but being able to send those Sky Striker cards to your graveyard to then recur with your Kagari, uber important. He's gonna send the Mecha Modules the Mobilize Engage, and then he'll be able to recur it with the Kagari, which will allow him to start popping off with his plays. So during the main phase 2, using Hayate for a Link, as you guys already know, he's gonna follow with that Kagari. Unfortunately, the card is limited to 1, but it's the reason why Sky Strikers are just so good. Being able to use your graveyard is essentially as a second toolbox is really important to the deck. So now he can continue off with this play, which just so happens to be activating the second most powerful card in the deck, which is a Mecha Modules multi-role. And then he can follow up with the card he just added to his hand and Mobilize Engage. And since he has 3 spell cards in the graveyard, he'll be able to gain the second effect of Engage, meaning that not only does he get to search a card, he also gets to draw a card from his deck. He's gonna add Sky Striker Afterburner, and you can only imagine that Afterburner can be activated, which would not only put a metaphorical counter on the multi-role, but would also destroy the Cyber Dragon Infinity, meaning that I wouldn't infinitely have a monster on my side of the field. So yeah, Chip is gonna activate that Sky Striker maneuver Afterburner, destroying my Infinity. He's gonna have 2 metaphorical counters, I have to say metaphorical, on that Sky Striker multi-role. And then if he has another Engage, obviously I think he would have used it to search the card that he needed, draw additional resources, but I don't think he does. And it looks like his finishing move would be to set cards face down, make the Shizuku, and then do the little Shizuku thing, and then pass your turn. So yeah, he's gonna make the Sky Striker Ace Shizuku, and then does he have any additional cards to set face down? We're waiting, playing that waiting game. He has 1. Okay, so he only has 1 card to set face down, but he's gonna be able to use his Shizuku. He's gonna add the Widow Anchor, and then he can activate the Widow Anchor to negate the Shizuku, and now he can set 3 Sky Striker cards face down. Now, if you guys are playing against a Sky Striker Mystic Mine player, you can almost tell when they have the metaverse for Mystic Mine. Depending on during this end phase, if they're smart enough, you can set your field spell card back face down to your side of the field. If they don't set it, odds are they have a metaverse face down to activate to get into the Mystic Mine. Sometimes the other odds are they just didn't know that they can set their field spell card with the multi-rolls. So now Chip being able to negate Shizuku, he'll be able to set the Afterburners, the Widow Anchor, and the Engage back to his side of the field. And I love how Chip literally, how he plays, I feel like he's explaining it to you guys, like he's showing you with cards. I just gotta give, I'm not saying TJ does it, but Chip does it smooth. I aspire for all of us to play more like Chip because it allows me to commentate a little easier, and it also allows you guys to see just a little more. I'm gonna normal summon Cyber Dragon Hertz to my side of the field. I know it says hers, but it's German, so it's Hertz. like it hurts. And the interesting interaction is that I can use his Shizuku for a contact fusion for one of my Cyber Dragon monsters. So anytime you summon a monster pretty much in the Cyber Dragon deck, it is a threat to the Sky Striker strategy because they won't be able to use their Ray in the graveyard. And I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna use the Shizuku for a contact, and we're gonna make Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon. Now, I'm gonna be able to gain the effect of Hertz. Hertz will allow me to add Cyber Dragon from my deck or graveyard to my hand, as you guys should know. I think I should have just made the Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon because the card that I'm going to follow up with is, you know, it's a card better suited for Fortress. And then looking at my graveyard, I probably should have just added Cyber Dragon from my deck to my hand instead of from my graveyard to my hand. I guess it's always good to look back and reflect. So we have we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 light monsters in the graveyard. I guess that's not that bad. We're gonna go ahead and banish 3 to special summon our Chaos Dragon Leveaneer. This card is insane. And the strategy, it'll allow me to special summon Cyber Dragon Infinity back to my side of the field, and then I can, you know, eat a monster in my extra monster zone, or preferably my extra monster zone, get a card, you know, get the Mega Fleet out of here, and give my Infinity a negate plus some attack. So maybe it would have been better because I wasn't going to make the Dingirsu this time around to make the Mega Fleet. So no, I could have been right. Unfortunately for me, Chip does have the Widow Anchor. He's going to take control and negate the Chaos Dragon Leveaneer. So he does turn off all of his face down cards, and he's banking on me not having any other additional cards. Or he's just really confident in the rest of his board. We know he has an Engage face down. We know that he has a Afterburner, so he's in all state. I'm now going to follow up by using Noxters. I'm going to discard the Cyber Dragon, special summon a Noxter to my side of the field, and then I'll be able to special summon Cyber Dragon Infinity. Infinity will then be able to absorb the Chaos Dragon Leveaneer, and it looks like I'm going to get him to my side of the field regardless. Oof. I actually have some good play opportunity right here. I can use the Noxter and the Mega Fleet for a Link Summon, which I will. Probably would have gotten more damage. No, the Seeger gives one of my monsters 2100 attack, so I think this is the route that will give me more damage. So yeah, we can use both of those for the summon of a Seeger. We can go for Cleefort Genius. Genius to summon itself. Take control of the Leveaneer, negate the Infinity to negate his card so we won't be able to set. Or we can just go to Seeger and then do the damage and do all those cool things. Actually, Chip doesn't even have any Sky Striker cards in his graveyard if I remember correctly. So make him the Cleefort, which seems like a lot of plays for a whole lot of nothing. Just doesn't seem to come to mind. We're going to make the Cyber Dragon Seeger. And unfortunately, Seeger is not going to aid to any type of OTK or whatever, but it's another great monster that will allow me to inflict some damage, whether I'm using the Seeger to give the Infinity 2100 attack, or Seeger is doing the dirty work itself. It really doesn't matter. Chip is going to take that extra 2100 damage, and I'm going to be able to clear a monster out of my extra monster zone with arrows pointing downward. So I'm going to put a considerable amount of damage to Chip's life points. He's down, but he's not out. I love how these two decks are really fighting for dominance right now. When Sky Strikers have a play, Cyber Dragon has a comeback, and vice versa. When Cyber Dragon has an insane play, Sky Strikers come with the comebacks. They're going to be able to start their turn. We know that they have the Afterburners and the Engage, so this was already a losing effort, or feels like a losing effort on Cyber Dragons if Chip draws the right type of cards. Chip down to 3,900 life points. Not necessarily a low number, but less than 50% by 100 life points. He's going to be able to start attempting to break the board, going ahead and activating his face down spell card, Sky Striker Maneuver Afterburner, to destroy my Infinity. Of course, I'm going to use the Cyber Dragon Infinity to negate the activation and destroy the Afterburner. And since Afterburner was set through the effects of your Sky Striker multi-roll, it'll be banished instead of being sent to the graveyard. Chip can now activate his face down engage almost freely unless I have an Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring to stop it, or maybe a Drolling Lockbird to follow up on the mobilize engage so he wouldn't be able to search further cards. But it looks like he's in good condition. Chip now going ahead and using that mobilize engage, he'll be able to search a Sky Striker card, and I believe he'll be able to draw a card because I know he has at least Mystic Mine and Terraforming in his graveyard. So in this particular situation, Chip can do quite a few things. I can't think of any monsters in my graveyard he'll want to special summon through the effect of his Shark Cannon. So he's just going to go ahead and get the Mech Armory base because he does have the modules to send the armory to the graveyard to be able to shuffle his Kagarian, and that's probably the play that you want to do anyways. Yes, the engage will get banished, but he does get a counter on his Sky Striker Mecha Multi rolls. He'll now be able to set what we can assume is the Mech Armory, and then he's going to use the effect of his Sky Striker multi-roll, targeting one other card he controls and then sending it to the graveyard, triggering the effect of his Hercules base to shuffle in his Sky Striker Link cards. He'll now be able to rejuvenize his extra deck and then be able to spell some of those monsters back to his side of the field. Now, I think the tipping point right here, a lot of times when you guys play against Sky Strikers, you have to know when to scoop it up, because if you do play against Sky Strikers for long enough, you will go into time, and the game is literally all for Sky Strikers. They have a monster that can attack you directly, inflict 1500 damage without you just, doing anything. They have cards to give them life points like Kana, which will give them 100 life points in time. Hypothetically, if you guys are going at a sanctioned event, you want to get those time considerations, because a good Sky Striker player, they won't slow play, but their games or their turns will take long enough for you to go into time. So I'm going to go ahead and scoop this up. He has the engage. He's going to be able to break my board, reset it, and I didn't draw too well, or I didn't have a well finishing hand to where I would think I would win this game. So we're going to go into game 3, and I'm going to elect for Sky Strikers to go first. This is saucy, and Cyber Dragons are really good at going second, not only because, well, Cyber Dragon, but if you draw the right hand, you can actually push through a lot of cards. Chip using his Airspace Area 0, revealing Mystical Space Typhoon, jamming waves. Sorry, Chip wanted me to say it like that. And another card called by the grave, shuffling those into the deck, he's going to get the jamming waves. The more I think about it, the more I want to drop Call by the Grave in this deck, though. Like, it's a totally different story, but I feel like I can successfully make a video on why hand traps are bad in Yu-Gi-Oh! And why Called by the Grave is a card to follow. He's then going to be able to send his Metal Foes Fusions. How many times is he going to be able to have that card? Chip always has it when it's clutch. Activating the Sky Striker Mobilize Engage, he'll be able to search a Sky Striker card and then draw a card. One more thing I do want to point out for you guys is that if you are huge Legend of Zelda fans, then Chip just might be your man. He actually streams on Twitch every now and then. I think he streams quite a bit. I wish I knew his schedule. I'll probably be able to, tell his schedule next time he's on the channel and everything, give you a little bit more. I actually enjoy watching his Legend of Zelda streams, and if Legend of Zelda is your thing, go ahead and check him out. He's then going to use his Mecha Modules multi-roll on his Airspace Area 0. And now he'll be able to use Area 0's effect to special summon that Sky Striker Ace Kagari. He'll be able to follow that with a Link summon. But you guys already know what game is the best game of all time. It's Overwatch. So if you guys want to see some Overwatch, then you know to go to your boy, TheCaliEffect at Twitch. Or again, Chip102 has some good Legend of Zelda. Not going to knock that. He should play Overwatch, though. So now Chip's going to use his Ray for a Link summon into the Kagari. Kagari's going to add the Engage back to his hand. And it looks like if he can put another spell card in his graveyard, he'll be able to draw a card through the effects of his Engage. Will Chip be able to put a spell card in his graveyard, or does he have to only activate Engage with... Yeah, it looks like he's going to activate the Engage, one spell card short of being able to draw an additional card. But what he will be able to do is add a Sky Striker card and place another counter on, that's right, his Mecha Module's multi-role. Now, in this particular sequence, he still has the Metal Foes Fusion in his graveyard. He can activate the Metal Foes Fusion to draw another card, meaning that Chip would be able to draw a plethora of cards in his hand, setting himself up for some really good action. Hypothetically, if the Metal Foes Fusion does draw him into another Engage, he'd still be in the same spot, but, you know, he'd have another search through Engage, so that's always awesome. And while we are here, one last promotion, ladies and gentlemen. I know these live duels are almost filled with promotions nowadays, that and ads and everything. I do appreciate you guys, but if you guys are wondering, TheCaliEffect, where you get that sexy mat from? Well, you guys already know I get it from Imperium Duelists, ladies and gentlemen. You guys can use the code TheCaliEffect 10 off to, guess what? Get TheCaliEffect's 10% off your entire purchase there. All right, I'm done with the advertisements. Maybe. Not really. I'm done. Chip's gonna set 2 cards face down, 3 cards face down. Whoa there, buddy. You will be able to set somebody with the Mecha Module's multi-role. And then he's gonna use the Kagari for a link summon into Shizuku. Now, I'm pretty much telegraphing what Chip's gonna do, but I'm 1000% confident he's not going to use Shizuku to get the Widow Anchor, you know, little play-by-play he wants to do. This time around, he's actually going to resolve the effect of his multi-rolls first, and he's going to set the Mobilize Engage, and now Shizuku can add a Sky Striker spell card not in his graveyard, cough cough, Engage, and then he'll be able to have 2 engages this time around. Chip is definitely setting him up for the long game, because if this turn is allowed to pass, he'll be able to put quite a few searches on the field, possibly some spell cards in the graveyard on top of that, and boy, will Chip be able to steamroll this game. So he's going to pass it right back to me, and right on the standby phase, Chip was actually really confident. He was like, oh, you ain't going to stop me from searching? Well, I'm going to Metaverse. Well, unfortunately, I have the Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, and I can tell you guys is Chip's horror when he see the Ash Blossom. Because then he saw a little smirk from me and he was like, you had that Ash Blossom all along. You didn't top deck that. I'm like, yeah. So you guys already know what this means. I'm now going to follow up by using the Jizukiru on the Shizuku. And this effectively turns off all of the Sky Striker spell and trap cards. Reason being is that he controls a monster in the main monster zone. This is horrendous for Sky Strikers, is to have a monster in the main monster zone. I'm then going to follow up with Cyber Dragon to my side of the field. That is a free special summon. So now we're going to go ahead and normal summon our Cyber Dragon core, which is a free search. Adding a Cyber Spell or Trap card. Does Chip 102 have any answers to this? Because this type of a laughter board can be a slaughter. Get it? I just added an S to laughter. It's a slaughter. I know you guys like that. So with the effect of Cyber Dragon Core, I have quite a few cards. Cyber Rev System, Cyber Emergency, Cyber Repair Plant. It looks like we're going to add the Cyber Emergency to our hand, needing a monster to possibly finish up our combo. This is scary. What am I planning? We are then going to activate that Cyber Emergency. We're going to be able to add a Light Machine monster that cannot be special summon or normal summon or set, or Cyber Dragon. This time around, we're going to add Cyber Dragon. That's interesting. Normally, you don't add Cyber Dragon, so I'm even curious. I don't remember this game. It's always amazing to watch your games after you don't remember them. You can just give off the commentary play-by-play and then talk about some of the mistakes you see. So Cyber Dragon Noster is going to hit the field by discarding Cyber Dragon, and then you can summon it back to your side of the field. Now, the core and the Noster can be used for a link summon. Oh man. This is going to make the Cyber Dragon Seeker, maybe? No, it looks like I may have something even better. I'm going to make the Cleefort Genius And then I'm gonna follow up with the card that will blow your mind, ladies and gentlemen. This is why I saved that Ash Blossom and Joy Spring for the metaverse. The only card that I feared because I have the Overload Fusion. I'm gonna banish Noster and my Cyber Dragon core because they are Cyber Dragons. 2 special summon my Chimera Tech Mega Fleet to my Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. And I know one of his cards is the set face down engage. I could just blow up the other 2 cards that I know he has interactions with me. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, destroying those cards, and they just so happen to be Widow Acres. Chip had the board. Now we can use Rampage Dragon's effect to send Cyber Dragon monsters from our hand to the graveyard. I'm gonna send Cores and Hertz. Hertz is gonna trigger its effect, and it'll allow me to add the core from my graveyard to my hand since it is Cyber Dragon in the graveyard. And whoa, it looks like we're gonna be able to finish this game off relatively early. Using both of our Cyber Dragons, we are going to make an Exceed summon. That's gonna be our free Cyber Dragon Nova. Nova detaching a Cyber Dragon to special summon Cyber Dragon from our graveyard to our side of the field. Yes, it can special summon the exact same Cyber Dragon you use, you just have to have a target initially in the graveyard. Making the affinity, we're gonna absorb the Kaiju. And this is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is game Cyber Dragons taking the victory. Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the TheCaliEffect. If you guys want to see more, again, let's try to get this to 500 likes for that deck profile. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy. I hope you guys are having a great day like I am.